And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and it is Saturday, and you know what that means. It's time for all the toy news, action figure news of the week that interested me, that hopefully interests you in a big toy news week this week with a little bit of controversy, though, this time from Hasbro, the Marvel Legends line, and the Spider-Man figure. I'm going to put my business hat on and talk a little bit about that later on in this video, but of course, got to get the housekeeping out of the way. Got to thank Jay'sToysAndGames.com. Use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 15% on all in-stock items for sponsoring this edition of the Toy News here. Did pick up some stuff at Jay's this week. You'll see in the weekly purchases tomorrow, so stay tuned for that, of course. But Jay's got a lot of new stuff in. Check them out if you have not already. Patreon giveaway time, of course, month of February, the month of love, of course, as we know. Hopefully everybody had a good Valentine's Day. I know I did. But of course, it is a new giveaway month, of course, with February here. Anybody that signs up for the Patreon at $1.99 and more gets entered into the Claudio Castagnoli giveaway, so we'll be giving that away to one person. And then our traditional giveaway is the Platinum Superman, of course, McFarlane Toys Christopher Reeve edition. 2 giveaways this month over there on Patreon. Appreciate all the support over there. A lot going on Patreon every single day, as you guys know by now. Tons and tons of videos coming through, tons of early videos, early content over there, and some more surprises in store in the future, so stay tuned to that. And the future's coming up quick. About a month from now, we're going to celebrate the 5-year anniversary of this YouTube channel, getting dangerously close to 50,000 subscribers. Can we do it? It's going to be close, but if we do get to 50,000 subscribers, by the time of that video, we're going to do all kinds of giveaways, 5 giveaways to be exact, so stay tuned to that. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. All kinds of fun stuff coming. A lot of surprises coming in that 5-year anniversary video with some major announcements that'll change the world forever. Maybe not, but maybe so, maybe so. Stay tuned in the future there. But let's dive into the toy news this week. Like I said, a lot going on in the toy news this week. And we'll start with wrestling, as we usually do. Sounds like we talked about it last week in the toy news. Rumors were Demolition signing a Legends contract. Well, apparently this week it is official. Demolition has signed a Legends contract with the WWE. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, where's Macho Man? Where's all these other ones? Got to give it time. We've been saying this for months, probably a year or more on the channel. What you're seeing is the Demolitions of the world, the Road Warriors of the world, the Macho Man Randy Savages of the world, saying no to the WWE because there's all these third-party companies for posters, t-shirts, and action figures that are out there. They're going to play the field, get all the money they can from all these places, work the circuit, then go back to the WWE. Sign up for the WWE for a couple of years, go back into the market, work the circuit. I think it's a good business strategy. It doesn't help us if we want Mattel Elites of the Demolitions, the Road Warriors, and Macho Mans of the world, but we're going to get stuff from other people. Then they come in, make their big bucks, and then they go around. I think we're going to see more and more of that in the future. I think that's going to be the new way of life. And I think Demolition said, hey, we got action figures, for example, from all these other companies out there. They all made figures of us for the most part by now. We've really dried up out there. Now we can get under the WWE umbrella. We can get a payday going to the Hall of Fame. We get the Legends deal. We'll be in video games. We'll get action figures. We'll get merchandise. They'll play that out, and then they move to something else. So makes all the business sense in the world. Demolition, you have to imagine we're going to get a re-release of those figures from many moons ago. Unfortunately, no Crush available right now, but I'm sure we'll get Axe and Smash. There's a lot of different face paints they can do. Obviously, the Repo Man's got to be in the running for a figure. Have to imagine we'll get that. Who knows, maybe even a Masked Superstar in the Legends wave, maybe a Tale of the Territory set, something like that. So there is a lot of meat on the bone there. I'm here for it. Good to have Demolition back. Now, hopefully Road Warriors are next. We'll see what happens in a year or so. More to come on that. Whoa, stop the clock. Some late-breaking toy news, as it does seem to be the next wave of Jazzwares from the Vault figures are going to be on their way, and a big surprise here shown by the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast was apparently a Ring of Honor 2-pack of one Matt and Jeff Hardy from their monumental occasion, of course, Ring of Honor Originals, maybe, maybe not, but they did have a time in Ring of Honor, and it looks like we're going to get figures from their time in Ring of Honor. So Definitely interesting. I would have never guessed we were going to get more Hardy Boys figures from Jazzwares, but here we are. Should be on the vault, I would have to think, in the next couple of weeks. So some late breaking Valentine's Day news. We did see this week for our friends over at Ringside Collectibles, use discount code Kyle, save yourself 10%. AEW exclusive Better Than You, baby. Adam Cole, MJF 2-pack exclusive boxed images coming sooner rather than later over there at Ringside. Check that out if that is your thing. Nothing else from Mattel. We do know Mattel has a big event on March 6th, so they're saving a lot of their news for that, I have to imagine. And we had a pretty big news week last week. If you did catch the toy news, we talked a lot of Mattel stuff. Mattel this week, I did unbox the brand new Rhea Ripley Ultimate and unbox the ring, the Raw ring for that. Check that out if you missed that. Quite the set, all things considered there, so check that out if you have not. How about now we move over to a little retro action here. Zombie Sailor Toys coming in with Ric Flair in package. Should be shipping in a month or so here. A very classic looking Ric Flair, of course. Ric Flair, another one of those guys going to work in the circuit, all these other people, then we'll probably go back to the WWE eventually. We'll see what happens with that one there. And speaking of Ric Flair, Epic Toys on Valentine's Day went up for pre-order. Head over to Figure Collections. Use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 10% over there as well. They do have Ric Flair, the Barbarian, Dr. Death, and of course Barry Windham, another Four Horsemen member there. Latest and greatest from Epic Toys. Epic Toys really knocking it out of the park right now. Check those out if you haven't seen any of those. We've unboxed them all on the channel, of course, you guys know. But those are up for pre-order right now. Shipping May, I think it says. May, June timeframe, I guess, is a safe bet as of right now. And not done with some of the other retro-style companies. Of course, Wrestler Something Wrestlers, WSW, over at Figure Collections. Once again, save 10%. They did show off Steph DeLander and Mance Warner, a little bit more prettier promotional images there. Of course, the power couple of TNA right now. We will have those around the corner in the future. We did see WrestleFeds, another up-and-comer in the retro game. There's only so much money to go around for all these retro companies, as we do know. There's so many retro figures. But WrestleFeds showing off their British Bulldog, two different varieties, it looks like, of that one. Very Hasbro style in the packaging department there. Pre-orders coming, once again, sooner rather than later, but showing off British Bulldog. A lot of British Bulldog figures, of course. Major Pod was talking about, has anybody got all the British Bulldog figures? And I was thinking, I think the only British Bulldog figure I do not own, outside of Micro Brawlers, if there's that kind of thing, I think it's just that Unmatched Fury from Jakks, which is a pretty good statue figure, whatever you want to call it. I think I own everything else of the British Bulldog, and he's got a lot of figures, as we do know. And more coming seemingly every day, it feels like, going on there. But we do got that coming from WrestleFeds. We also saw from Title Run Toys, they did show off Paul Orndorff, carded images of Paul Orndorff. I'm still on the fence on this Paul Orndorff. It just looks something off. I can't figure it out. I don't know if it's the body to head ratio, but whatever it is coming. Once again, seeing a theme here, sooner rather than later. And we did see from the Hustle Man himself over there, Grapplers and Gimmicks, he did show off his full figure. We got just the head last time. Get the full pink suit figure here. Talked about it last week. I do not fault him for doing this at all. It's his company. It's reusing the molds. It's making the most out of what you have. Makes all the sense in the world. I think this is a smart move for him. He'll sell some. He'll give some away as promotional items, I'm sure. It's just a good move. And if I was in his boat, guess what? I'd probably do that exact same thing. So shout out to the Hustle Man over there. Who's going to step up and make a Kyle action figure, though? Let's talk business. Let's talk dollars and cents. Let's get this one done. Let's get this nailed away. Then we'll expand the line. Of course, we'll make my dogs. Maybe a good friend of the channel, Jeff George, could get a figure. My dad definitely needs a figure, but they need a new mold for him. He's a giant, so hopefully they can reuse some of that mold. My wife, Angie, she's more and more on the channel. She's poking around all the time. She's on weekly purchases every single week as the mail girl, answering all the mail questions for us over there. Check out old Angie. Oh, she's up to no good and a lot of craziness over there in those videos for sure. I think a lot of people miss out or don't know Angie's in those videos, but she's wild, let me tell you. I try to keep it down a little bit. She wilds it up, that's for sure, over there. But shout out once again to the Hustle Man, getting a figure of himself. It'd be interesting if people will pick that one up. I guess, once again, the theme of this episode should be time will tell, because that's what it is. And then last but certainly not least in the retro department, we did talk about it last week, Latuni, who I've been blown away by their retro Hasbro style figures and their LJN style figures. Both really, really good. The only nitpick is I would like new poses, but it is what it is. But they did show off last week their Everest edition, Macho Man Randy Savage. Still a little uncertainty on that one, but definitely the uncertainty is not in the price point, as they did announce this week a $70 price point. That's not too bad from what I was thinking. I was thinking it would be like $99 with free shipping or something is what I thought it would be. Instead, it's going to be $70 with shipping. Could equal out the same, maybe. Who knows, depending on your shipping. But it is a big boy. Going to be great for you Macho Man fans, of course, out there. So we'll stay tuned to that. I think there's going to be more Everest Edition figures as well in our future. But $70 feels like a fair price point for a figure that's about, you know, this tall compared to an LJN that's about this tall and a Hasbro that is about this tall. Just off the foot right there. So very interesting times, as we all do know. But speaking of interesting times, this week we did see Jada Toys finally coming out with the pre-order for Jada Toys Blanka Street Fighter and, of course, Sagat. Not Bob Saget, but Sagat Street Fighter up, of course, for pre-order wherever you buy your fine toys. Maybe jaystoysandgames.com. That's where I'll pick mine up at as well. Street Fighter line just keeps chugging along. Slowly but surely, it's the little engine that could. I choose them. Like a young, of course, Simpsons episode back in the day. But looking very good. Two heavy hitters in more ways than one. Can't wait to add them to my collection in the future. And then next week, we were planning on talking next week in the toy news, a lot of G.I. Joe news. They were going to have a Hasbro Pulse live stream. It was going to be February 18th, this upcoming Tuesday. Well, they came in there and announced, hey, not going to happen. It's being moved to March 18th. So good and bad. It's bad. We have to wait. It's good, though. Our wallets get an extra month break. How about that? You got to look on the positive side of things all the time. So we do get a little reprieve from having to spend some money next week with all the pre-orders and all that. But obviously something wasn't ready to go that they were hoping to show. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. A lot of rumors in the wording there that maybe they're going to announce a Thunder Machine from the Dreadnoks. A lot of people reading into that, of course, as we know. I guess we'll know when we get there. But I'm here for all the Joes. You know me, I'm a G.I. Joe guy first and foremost. A lot of people think wrestling, but oh, baby, G.I. Joe, truly my first love and my longest love. But wrestling's right up there too, of course, and other toy lines as well. But more coming on that soon. But now, probably the most controversial week in a long time in action figures. And Hasbro Marvel Legends hasn't had this much controversy since they went to the plastic-free packaging a couple years back, and then they went back to that one. It was the Ultimate Spider-Man that finally went up for pre-order. They solicited this a couple of weeks ago, announced it. A lot of people jazzed, a lot of people excited, but the biggest thing and the biggest buzz was, what's the price point going to be? What are they going to charge for this one? And people were all over. So I saw somebody say $24, but I knew that was never going to be the case. I will tell you, my gut said a wrestling ultimate is about $32.99, $35, let's call it. I figured we'd be somewhere between $34.99 and $39.99 on the Spider-Man Maximum figure, the Ultimate Spider-Man. Unfortunately, it was $49.99. So Spider-Man, $49.99, easy for me to say, is the price point for this. Now, put my business hat on, I think, man, is that going to be too tough? Are people going to step up to that price point? Well, obviously did. Hasbro obviously won on this one because most retailers sold out of this Spider-Man figure at $49.99. So Hasbro knew the market. They knew what was going on. And we can sit here and complain all day long we don't like the price point. I think all of us would rather pay $39.99 than $49.99, of course. But apparently the public is willing to shell out their money for it at a $49.99 price point. It's just truth. The proof is in the pudding of all the retailers selling out of this one. So a wild, wild thing here is the value there. I'm not exactly sure. Like I said, in my head, I think of the WWE Ultimate line, $35, give or take. This one, obviously, a little different. Maybe you're not getting the most out of your molds with Spider-Man. There's only so much you could do. There's a lot of extra accessories here, but honestly, for me, it doesn't feel like a $50 figure. It really feels like it should be $39.99. But it is what it is. The retailers put it, or Hasbro put it, the retailers took it, and guess what? The consumer obviously willing to pay for it. There it is. So you can't fault Hasbro and their business practices. They're in the business to make money, not friends, as we know. And they're not here to break even either. They got to show profits to, of course, their board of directors, all that kind of stuff, the stockholders. Is what it is. So apparently they have a winner on this one. I just hope Hasbro does not do what Mattel did with the WWE Ultimate line, as the Ultimate line really felt very special when it first started for about the first 2 years. We didn't get a ton of figures. I hope they keep that going on over here at Hasbro. I would love to see 4 releases a year. Every 3 months you get a new unlimited figure. I think that would be awesome for collectors, but we know how it goes. The Spider-Man took off. Okay, guys, this one, it's a hot seller. They figured it out. Next time, let's do Wolverine, Captain America. We're going to do that. We're going to do 2 at a time, and then it's going to be 3 at a time. Then all of a sudden, you're going to have 20 of these figures a year. Where is too much too much? I know some collectors say at $50 price point, I'll step up to the Mayfexes of the world. Still not apples to apples to me personally. Maybe it is to you. But it is an interesting business clinic right here on this Spider-Man figure. I was definitely interested to see what the price point was. And once again, I don't like the price point. I am going to pick this one up. I didn't get a pre-order in, but I'll live. I'll figure it out some way or the other. Be interested to see too, does this go to traditional retail? Will the Walmarts and Targets pick these figures up? That's a hefty price point for the toy aisle, especially for a one figure. So will we see this at Walmart and Target? I think it's probably going to be a fan channel exclusive, Hasbro Pulse exclusive. I guess we'll see. There's still some unanswered questions right here, but very interesting business practices this week. And got to say, to me, it worked out for Hasbro. So yeah, the proof is in the pudding and the proof is in the money at the end of the day. So be interested to hear your thoughts on that one. Did you pick it up? You passing? Are you not going to pay those prices? Did you find it reasonable? I can't imagine anybody would argue that they would like to have it cheaper. I think everybody'd like to have it cheaper, but maybe some more understand it than me. I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments once again. Now we move over to our friends over there at NECA. NECA all over the place lately. I don't know what's going on over there. They've had crazy shipping practices. They've had first-to-market figures that ship immediately, first-to-market figures that ship 6 months later. It's just truly all over the place here, so it's keeping us on our toes over there at NECA. But this week they officially solicited the Howling Werewolf. A lot of heads on this one too, which I was impressed for. Not necessarily what I think of when I think of a werewolf is the Howling one. I love the Howling movies. I really like Howling 3. I think it's the worst one. Everybody hates it. Christopher Lee's in it. Sybil Danning's in it. It's a wild movie. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but for whatever reason, I always liked that one as a little kid. I don't know if we're going to get werewolves from that one or not, but we do got the original one. Wouldn't be opposed to maybe army building this as well. And I don't know if NECA is running out of some horror franchises. To me, the Howling doesn't have the same appeal as a Freddy, a Michael Myers, a Jason, and a lot of other things, but it definitely is niche, and there's a lot of werewolf collectors out there, because let's be honest, we all love hairy bipedal creatures. We know how that goes. So it'll be interesting to see who jumps in on this Howling. I will pick this one up. We also saw Van Helsing. Didn't we see this at San Diego Comic-Con? But we saw it professionally solicited, how about, this week from NECA. Pre-order, I guess, shipping sometime this spring, late spring, early summer. Van Helsing, of course, Peter Cushing, as we do know, getting some of that Hammer horror action. We got Christopher Lee. We got that. We're here for that. I'm here for that for sure. And then we did get Last Ronin, Casey Marie. Of course, the Last Ronin, it really feels like this is the year of the Last Ronin for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We do got Casey Marie and her bicycle coming. I believe the daughter of April and Casey Jones. I pre-ordered this, and I kind of said to myself, what am I doing here? What am I doing? But I did. I pre-ordered it. I'm a sucker at the end of the day. There's a fool born every minute or something, however the saying goes. But I did pick this one up, and it should be here any day. It already shipped 2 days ago, I think it did say. So more Last Ronin coming. I also ordered that Grandma April, $50 price point. We'll dive into that, of course, on the channel. Check out Kyle Peterson 2.0. A lot of turtle unboxings over there. A lot of DC McFarlane. Yes, DC McFarlane, one day you'll make it to the top show here. Maybe. We'll see. More on you later, Todd McFarlane over there on the couch. But check out Kyle Peterson 2.0. Don't forget to subscribe to that channel. A lot of videos, a lot of content over there. The Spillover channel is really what it is at this point there. We did see this week from Mondo, and Mondo another tough one out there, but Mondo coming hot with the Ghostbusters, and I want to collect this line so bad, but you can only get so much stuff, you only have so much room, and you only got so many finances. That's what goes on every single day. I think a lot of us would like to collect more stuff than we do. It's just not always possible. But these Mondo Ghostbuster figures look really amazing, and the Boogeyman monster with Egon looks absolutely fantastic. I was always a Peter Venkman guy, but man, the Boogeyman, my favorite episode of the Ghostbusters ever. Really a scary episode for kids back in the day. If you've never seen it, you haven't rewatched it, go back, because it truly was nightmare fuel. I loved it as a kid. That was the only true spooky I felt Ghostbuster episode, and it's not really supposed to be spooky, but man, that one crossed over, especially the voice of the Boogeyman. Shout out to that one. I would love to buy just the Boogeyman for my shelf, just to represent a scary moment of my childhood, maybe. I don't know what you would call it, but man, oh man, looks very, very good. Would love to see that Boogeyman. And we're not done with Mondo this week. We got 10-day pre-order. You still got maybe 4 or 5 days left if you want to get in on it. It is, of course, Masters of the Universe, Evil Lynn, of course, part of the 1/6 scale. Been collecting all these. I will get my order in for Evil Lynn. I always wait till the last day, though. I want them sitting on my money the least amount of time possible. I did this week get my corrected Green Goblin head, of course, from the Spider-Man animated series Mondo figure where he's holding it like that. I did get that corrected, but then I said, wait a minute, where's the body? You guys were going to send me another body because I had paint line issues, joint issues. I had so many issues with that Spider-Man. Really turned me off to the entire Spider-Man line. I didn't get Venom. I didn't get anything else. I'm out of that line. I'm sticking to just Spider-Man. Mondo did get back to me. They said the body will be shipping later. They had a delay in the bodies, so we'll be waiting for those bodies in the future. So if you're in the same boat as me, that's kind of what's going on right there. But Eva Lynn, definitely a pre-order. You got to have her to square off against Tila on the shelf, don't you? But we're not done with Masters of the Universe. We got to talk to the Cartoon Edition Master figures. We got Buzz-Off, Frosta, and Skeletor up for pre-order right now. Buzz-Off, an all-time favorite of mine. Skeletor in that beautiful translucent plastic. You know I'm a sucker for translucent plastic. He also has the Orko shawl. He's in disguise, guys. He's in disguise. But it does look really good. I like that one. I don't like how they have 3 in a series now, though. We're seeing that more and more. I guess I'm not exactly sure the official reason for that, if it's case pack out or retailer request. Not exactly sure. But once again, we're getting 3 figures there. Buzz-Off, Skeletor being the 2 heavy hitters. Frosta, I'm not a big Princess of Power guy, but I will pick it up to support the line. So we do got that going on. This week, Mythic Legions, their retailer wave, back at it again this year. Of course, they do these every year. Usually, most of them are the Figure Obscura re-releases on a traditional style card with, of course, different colorways. So we're getting a lot of those. Of course, the Egyptian gods are coming in there. We got Frankenstein. The Ghost of Christmas Past. My dad, you might want to pick that one up, of course. But the 2 I'm really interested in is, of course, the Horde Trooper knockoff. I don't even know if knockoffs or a tribute, I guess, is more like it. Cosmic Legion, Horde Trooper. Definitely have to pick that one up. Love their Masters Universe inspired stuff. And we also got another Snake Men, which is very funny because we just unboxed one of the Snake Men this Monday, or last Monday, as you guys are watching this, on Kyle Peterson 2.0, where every single Monday we're doing a Cosmic or Mythic Legion unboxing. Check those videos out. You might learn something, or maybe you won't. Maybe you just have a good time. It's okay either way, but we do got another Snake Men coming. I'm here for all these snakes. Love the Snake Men coming into the Mythic Legions line. And I think we're going to see more and more of that as we do know. So up for pre-order right now at your favorite retailers. Jay's Toys and Games. That's where I'm going, of course. Check it out, of course, if you're living that Legion life. And then last but certainly not least, Todd McFarlane from the couch. Very, very quiet. Getting ready for Toy Fair here in about 2 weeks or so over there in, of course, New York. I have to imagine, Todd, you're going to come in extra hot with all kinds of announcements and things at that. Of course, he just went like this and threw it off, but he did it with his big toe. It was amazing how your stretching abilities is par to nobody out there. I think DDP and you are going to have a stretch off one of these days. You said, bring it on, DDP. Todd wants to go one-on-one with you in a yoga competition. That's what he wants to do. But Todd, you can do anything with your feet. We did a video this week where Todd was demonstrating how he'll sign autographs with each hand on a piece of paper, and then he gets down low with both feet on pieces of paper. So you can do 4 at a time. It's an amazing talent. Todd just never ceases to amaze me from the couch. But this week, Todd, very quiet, like I said, gearing up for New York Toy Fair here in a couple of weeks. But we did see a Big Bad Toy Store exclusive McFarlane Batman Year 2, of course, repainted here, this time in black and white. Passed on the first one, I'm passing on the second one. There you go. But if you want it, it's over there at Big Bad Toy Store right now for pre-order. Looking it over, that's the news of the week. A lot of stuff through this week. But now we got to turn our attention to the album of the week. But we're going to do something entirely different. All right, time for album of the week, but this week we're doing it totally different. We're not doing an album of the week, as this week the nominations for the 2025 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame did come out. And I figured this week, instead of doing album of the week, we would talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominations and try to figure out what 5 we would select out of this list here. Now, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, all but a joke at this point. So many legacy artists, so many artists over the years that really should be in that are not in. And it's a lot of prejudices by the committee over there that holds people out, keeps people out. People go in that, you know, have been available for just a short amount of time, where you got people that are literally dying on their last legs that should be in. You might as well celebrate them while they're alive. A lot of issues with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Of course, the biggest issue I have is the lack of heavy metal musicians, because, hey, guess what? You don't like heavy metal doesn't mean a lot of these artists that really paved the way, that transcended and are still popular to this day, don't belong in a Hall of Fame. And then you start throwing in rap artists, country artists, all these different kind of artists from all over the place in a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It doesn't make a lot of sense. However, after years and years, it's probably been over a decade since they started putting rap people in there. If you're a rap artist, you're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it is what it is. But you don't see heavy metal artists going into the Rap Hall of Fame and things like that. So it's very, very convoluted. It's not perfect. And at the end of the day, Jesse Ventura told us, follow the money. That's what it's about. What's going to put butts in the seats? What's going to happen? That's the way it goes. But I do think they definitely overlook rock and heavy metal, and we're going to read the nominee list here. Now, I'll put it up on the screen as well. We got to pick 5 of these artists. We got to pick 5. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll give you mine after I do read off this list here. So the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees nominated. Only 5 of these will get in. We got Bad Company, Till the Day I Die, some may say. The Black Crowes, Mariah Carey, Chubby Checker, let's twist again. We got Chubby Checker there. Joe Cocker, my dad's airport friend. My dad, maybe he can come on the channel one time and talk about his time hanging out with Joe Cocker at the airport. Billy Idol, it's a great day for a white wedding, of course. Joy Division, New Order. Cyndi Lauper, Mana, yes, Mana, Oasis, Outkast, Fish, Soundgarden, and the White Stripes. That is your 2025 nominees. Now, right off the top of my head, I think of some that should be nominated that never have been nominated, should be in the Hall of Fame. I go right away to the Scorpions, like 50 plus years of hard rock. I mean, they've transcended hard rock, heavy metal. Everybody loves the Scorpions. Wind of Change, I hate that song, but man, talk about a popular song. How is a band like the Scorpions not in here? Iron Maiden, obviously one of the biggest omits right now, sells out stadiums across the world as we speak right now as well. Iron Maiden should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They've put a lot of people in that aren't as deserved as Iron Maiden, let me tell you. Ronnie James Dio, Influence Alone. Oh my gosh, Dio transcended all kinds of stuff. A long career over various bands, solo career, so much Dio to go in there. And even a band like Wings. Paul McCartney and Wings, I think they lump it in as Paul McCartney. Of course, he was in with the Beatles. But Wings for the band should go in as well. Some of the sleeper Paul McCartney solo era stuff is part of the Wings umbrella. Wings should be in there. And then last but certainly not least, a band like Motorhead. Motorhead, obviously, I am biased. I love Lemmy. But Lemmy, obviously not platinum artist, not selling out arenas across the world, but a guy that had a long, long career, went to work every single day, one of the hardest working guys, toured the world relentlessly, and influenced so many. And that's one thing they always say with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's about influencing others. What did you add? Nobody in heavy metal really, it's like before Lemmy, after Lemmy. People took stuff from Lemmy. They had stories from Lemmy. They had advice from Lemmy. They had ideas from Lemmy. You name it, Lemmy should be in. Obviously, Motorhead should be in. But Lemmy, too. Put them in separately. Put them in Motorhead, and then the next year put Lemmy in. I'd be here for that. And then there's huge bands over there across the pond, like the Status Quos of the world. Come on. May not be huge in America, but one of the biggest bands of all time. Still going today. Obviously, not quite the same Status Quo. But shout out to bands like Status Quo. So there's a lot that should go in. It's neither here nor there. Can't change anything. But we can dive into my pick for 5 here. Once again, put your list in the comments. Now, I'm putting people I don't even like. And really, honestly, I don't own any music in my catalog from the 5 I selected out of here, which is pretty wild. But I put my business hat on and I'm saying, okay, do they warrant it? In my belief, do they warrant it? And I'm going to go, number 1, I'm going to go Black Crowes. I'm going to put the Black Crowes in. I just saw the Black Crowes in concert not too long ago. Good friend of the channel, Jeff George, he loves Black Crowes. There's a lot of people that love Black Crowes. I definitely respect Black Crowes. They've been around for a long time. A lot of hits, of course, as we know. And then tour with Jimmy Page. I mean, just a lot of stuff. They've been around a lot longer than people, I think, give them credit for. And I do think they do deserve to go in. However, I also say you got to go back to the people that started it all. Chubby Checker. It is just absolutely ridiculous. Yes, ridiculous that Chubby Checker wasn't in 30 years ago. He started the twist and we twisted again. And I can't remember if it was my dad that told me the story or somebody else. But when he was a kid, Chubby Checker played and he played the twist like 7 times. You don't see artists play the same song 7 times. But when you got a song like the twist, you got to play it all night long, apparently. So Chubby Checker, just the groundwork he laid, he should be in there. Guys, he's got to be in his 80s, maybe 90s by now. Put him in before he dies. I mean, come on, get Chubby Checker in there. A wild card for me, I am not a jam band guy. I've never really been a jam band guy. The closest jam band that I love and follow around is the band called Ween. I've seen Ween like 18 times in concert, probably, maybe more than that. I love Ween, and Ween has even been covered by these artists. It is the band Fish. Now, I am not a Fish fan. I remember in high school, everybody loved Fish. It's just not my cup of tea for whatever reason, but I respect it. Like, I respect the Grateful Dead. I respect the Fish of the worlds out there, the Widespread Panics, all that kind of stuff. I respect them for sure. And Fish maybe flies under the radar, but man, they sell out arena after arena, multiple nights at Madison Square Garden. They tour relentlessly, music out there. I think is when you think of jam bands, they're right up there with the Grateful Dead at this point, and maybe we'll go past the Grateful Dead when things are all said and done because of their longevity and everything else. So hardworking guys, hustling, and definitely an era of music, or a genre of music, more like it, that should be represented. So I do have to think Fish should go in, if you ask me. Now, one that most people maybe wouldn't think I would think of would be a band like this, Outkast. Now, Outkast, another band, doesn't feel like they've been around a long time, but they've probably been away 25, 30 years about at this point. I think mostly known as their solo careers. I don't think they're together anymore, if I'm correct. But a band that transcended hip-hop and rap, even over to my dad. My dad was Hey Yan all over the place back in the day. So I think that's a band that transcends here. And if you're going to put rap artists in, hip-hop artists in, I can't think of many better than Outkast at this point. So Outkast gets the Duke for me. The last one gets a little difficult for me. Now, Bad Company, I've never been a Bad Company guy, never been a Free guy for whatever reason, doesn't do a whole lot for me. Mariah Carey, now I can see her going in one of these days. She is far from rock and roll, but I can see them putting her in. Wouldn't be shocked if she goes in this year, but she's not getting the Duke for me here. Joe Cocker, another one. A lot of people say, well, man, he's been around forever, but I will say for me, for Joe Cocker, he's got a couple of hits really that transcend that most people do know. However, Joe Cocker's known more for doing cover songs than his actual own music. So you got to add that in there a little bit. I don't know if Joe Cocker's time is now. I don't know, though. I could see that possibly just because of those cover songs were so popular. But for me, I wouldn't be voting for him. Joy Division, New Order, I just don't like that kind of music at all, so I would not put them in. I don't understand how a band like that is bigger than Iron Maiden, for example. I think Iron Maiden has influenced so many more. I think it's just politics getting in the way. Nothing against you Joy Division, New Order fans. They can't even list them separately. They got to lump them together. Can you lump in Motorhead and the Headcat together? Can we do that? Why don't we just lump in Iron Maiden and Motorhead and put them in together then if we're going to lump two bands? Yeah, the band members cross over, but it's not the same thing. What are we doing there? So definitely a no there. Cyndi Lauper could almost make the case for close but no cigar for me. Obviously, the rock and wrestling connection, the big MTV era, never did anything for me, though, Cyndi Lauper. The only thing I want from Cyndi Lauper at this point is a WWE Mattel Elite, so pass it on her as well. Mana, I have never heard of Mana. I'm not against it. I just don't know to it. I am ignorant to the Mana, but I got to think that if you walk to the average Joe on the side of the street and say, you ever heard of these three bands, Motorhead, Iron Maiden, or Mana? I think most people would say they have not heard of Mana. However, if you're a Latin community, you're Mexican, you love the Mexican music, all that kind of stuff. I mean, they are, I believe, a little bit of rock, so I do give them some credit. But I don't know how you can put them over others. I guess it's starting to be an international Hall of Fame as well, but then that leaves my credence to where's Status Quo. They've sold more albums than Mana. They're more well-known than Mana. So I don't know where you go with that one there, but I can't, in good faith, put that one in. Oasis, I could see that happening because there's so much buzz on the reunion, selling out these arenas, things like that. But once again, feels too soon for me for an Oasis. Not ready for that one there. Soundgarden. I don't like Soundgarden. I'm not a Chris Cornell fan. I know, sacrilegious to many, but was there enough Soundgarden music? How many albums did Soundgarden have? 3 or 4? I just don't think there was enough there to get them in at this point right here. I just don't see it. Maybe you do. And then once again, the White Stripes. I mean, what is the White Stripes? Once again, how many albums did the White Stripes have? I think most people know Jack White from his solo stuff, his guitar stuff, his record company, all that. It's too soon for the White Stripes for me as well. So maybe you're different, which leaves one more on this list. The one I'm going to vote for, it's going to be Billy Idol, going back to the punk rock days. And then, of course, his huge glow up. That's what my wife would say. His glow up in the 80s. White Wedding, Rebel Yell. I mean, did some covers in there as well. We've talked about that. But I do think Billy Idol has transcended. He is still touring. He is still doing things. So Billy Idol will get my final vote. But a tough list here. Like I said, not a lot of stuff I like or even fan favorites for me. But it is what it is. I'm trying to think what I would choose, and that's what it is. Black Crowes, Chubby Checker, Fish, Outkast, Billy Idol for me. You guys in the comments, let me know your thoughts on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And out of this list, what 5 would you choose? And bonus points if you can defend your answer. So there it is. That is the album of the week, and that is the toy news of the week. Let me know your thoughts on everything toy news related. Really love to hear your thoughts on the Ultimate Spider-Man. It just seems rough for me. It seems about $10, $10 to $15 high. But let me know your thoughts on that one as well as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Of course, Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We're on the hunt for 50,000. You guys know that by now. Check out my Patreon. All kinds of stuff. Bonus content every single day. SirPaul64 on the X. _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, and TikTok. So you know what I'm doing. I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling into a Valentine's Day weekend.
We're going to the end of the line.